check 1, 2. You left me hanging. It's too late now.
Well, I thought you were gonna do the first part, and then like I was gonna come in, and then Casey was gonna come in, but then you like stopped. And
We
didn't get a chance.
We can't hear the theme song when you're watching it on this YouTube video, so we beatbox it as we watch it. So here's what it would have sounded like. Olivia, kick it off. It reminds me of that there's one Futurama episode that for some reason the whole theme song is beatboxed the whole way
Yes.
through.
Okay.
Yeah.
It always makes me
It comes
happy.
out of nowhere, and then it's
Yeah.
just like, woo!
Yeah. Welcome to Jackson Cloud. I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are hopping back into Revelation 1:9. 10. Sorry.
I thought we
10.
just did 10. I was like, what?
We're doing 3 episodes on 10, trying to explain the weird stuff.
No, we already did the weird stuff.
We had a weird stuff series, but Revelation is an extended weird stuff series.
Okay.
So in our last episode, we did the first part since I was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet.
Like a trumpet sound.
You knew
That's
that
our
was gonna
next
come.
episode. In this particular one, we're talking about the Lord's Day. What is the Lord's Day?
Sunday.
Isn't that the Sabbath?
So in our culture, it sounds like you both just said the same thing,
Yes.
Yeah.
but like ancient times, maybe not. You know?
Right, because Sabbath used to be the Saturday for them.
Yeah. So
And then Jesus rose again on a Sunday, and that's why the Sabbath is on Sunday now.
in what way?
What do you mean?
You just said that's why. Why is that?
Because Jesus rose on the Sunday.
Mm.
So
So
now,
they changed Sabbath to that because.
because it was when Jesus rose again.
Well, yeah, I was just looking for like the like what's the meaning in changing it type thing.
Because that's when the
'Cause-
church year starts.
Because one week they wanted 2 Sabbaths in the same week, so they
Pentecost?
had a Saturday and a Sunday.
Yeah, well, okay, so you're all on the right track.
Passover. I said the wrong one. I meant Passover
You instead of Pentecost?
instead
which
of Pentecost.
happens.
Well,
yeah.
Passover would have been like Friday, though, right?
Well,
That would have been when
right,
Jesus dies.
because that's when Jesus dies, because he becomes the Passover lamb, and then he rises again on Sunday, and it's the start of the Christian year.
Well, I think so. What we have in we do have people using the Lord's Day in like I don't know, 1st, 2nd century kind of lingo, but this is really the only time it shows up in the New Testament. So when John's like, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day, we're just kind of like, okay, what are you getting at? Like, why is that important enough to you to say that? So you just said, this is the day that Jesus rose, this is Sunday, this is that. Like, if this is Sunday, which some people fight like, that's not what he's getting at. But I feel like most people are kind of unified. Like, yeah, the Lord's Day must be Sunday. We gather that's what he's referring to. Well, can you think of any other proposals as to what the Lord's Day would be?
I mean, a day the Lord has made, so this is the Lord's Day. So any day that ends in Y,
All right.
It could be Christmas.
false.
Chris.
No way.
Because it's like the Lord's birthday, because it's Jesus'
Right, but
birthday.
that didn't
so
actually
it's
get-
totally the Lord's Day.
That didn't come about until they took a pagan holiday and did that.
Well, they probably were celebrating.
The pagan holiday beforehand?
No, they were probably celebrating Christmas, as in Jesus' birthday, before it overlapped with the pagan holiday.
Before you all keep going with this pagan stuff, I think what you were saying before, one Sunday, I think that makes sense to me. The only other thing that maybe we could specify as the Lord's Day would be a specific Sunday.
Easter?
Yeah. I mean, so either he's saying, I was in the Spirit on Easter Day, or I was in the Spirit on Sunday. And for me, I think Sunday
So it's not
works.
Christmas.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I've come across that recommendation anywhere, but you know, you do you, I guess. But why would he mention that? Like, what's that a big deal? How does that connect into Revelation or this moment? What are your initial thoughts here?
Maybe so we have a timeline.
In what way?
And so that we know when stuff is happening to him. I don't know.
Well, okay, so if we were thinking metaphorically with what you just said, is like, I was in the Spirit, the Holy Spirit came upon me, upon what we consider a special, called out sacred day, right? So within the timeline, like, this wasn't just any other day, this was like Sunday, you know? I wish people treated church like that. I mean, this isn't just any day, this is church today, yeah! You know, but they don't. But this is the it's raining. That's what today is. I'm staying home. Don't want my hair to get wet. Now I don't remember what we were talking about.
Lord's Day.
The Lord's Day, in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. So this is a he could be setting the stage for what Olivia said. We are on sacred time right now. This is not just any old message. This is a sacred message given to us.
I mean, what if like he was just mentioning that because he remembered it at the time? He was like, "Oh yeah, this is on the Lord's Day," and okay, that and $4 will get you a coffee at Starbucks. Like, it's like if it was considered not like a very
Well, that's where I think you're answering your own question, is why state that if it didn't matter? Especially in a time where paper and ink are very expensive. Right? So I think for him, like, there's purpose in him mentioning this. And I think part of it is kind of what we've just said, is this is a sacred message from a sacred day, be it Easter or more likely just any given Sunday. But what other meaning might we have to that? Because you mentioned, like, Sunday is the expectation, well, not the expectation. Sunday is the celebration that Christ is risen, right? He's risen indeed. This is the resurrection. What is Revelation ultimately going to be about? Resurrection. It's going to be about resurrection. It's going to be about Jesus. You know, like, Jesus appeared to me on Jesus's day. You know, like, this is not too surprising then that, like, we all know what Sunday is about. This is the day Jesus rose. You know, this is what we remember every single week when we go to church. Sunday is not just like any given day. This is the day that resurrection happened, and we remind ourselves every single week. It is also called elsewhere in the Bible something else. Anybody know what the phrase is? Not the Lord's Day, but want to take a stab? Want to make something up?
no.
I mean Sabbath, but I feel like we already said that, so that can't be where you're going.
Other places, including in John's Gospel, it's just called the first day of the week.
Okay.
Lame.
That's such a longer way to say that.
Well, okay, but that's important to know. That sounds weird. Why does John intentionally in his Gospel use that phrase then? Like, why not just say Sunday?
Because he wants to make it clear that we're starting out our week with this.
Starting out our week with this. What else might we get there?
To put to bed all the fights that Monday is the first day of the week.
No. Though in my mind you are correct. What else? Anything? Birth of new creation, right? Like, we're putting the old week behind and we're moving into the new week, right?
Okay.
We have moved out of the seventh day even to the eighth day. Casey's wincing at me right now.
So, like, the resurrection is like the new birth.
Mm.
And then, what, Friday becomes the death of the week? I don't know, that's
Well,
weird.
technically Saturday would be the death of the
Well,
week.
I know, but with the 3 days rising, Good Friday, yada yada. Like,
No, that's just Jesus. That's not everything else.
Well, here you go. Since John,
but in context, it has to be within context.
for me, and people fight about this, but John of Revelation for me is the same John of John's Gospel. But in John's Gospel, John 20, he says, "Now on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb early, while it was still dark, and saw that the stone had been taken away from the tomb." What she's about to discover is that Jesus is not dead, he is resurrected, which means that we too are going to be resurrected, which means that we too are going to be a part of the new creation. Like all these promises that they were still, is resurrection real? Is it not real? The Pharisees had a bold, yes, it's real. The Sadducees had a bold, no, we're just science, and when we die, and nothing exists in the afterlife. and they were so boldly different from each other that when Paul talks about resurrection in both of their presence, remember they get in a WWE fight, all of a sudden they just start chucking. It says they had to pull Paul out of the room because the soldiers were afraid that they were going to tear him apart. Just at the mention of resurrection. So like we've been waiting. Is it real? Is it not real? And in everybody's mind, it's not real. Jesus died on a cross. We watched it happen. He breathed his last. He's gone. It's over. It all fell apart. But then on the first day of the week, they come to find resurrection is in fact real. So when John intentionally, instead of saying, and then on Sunday, but instead is like, then on the first day of the week, like, why use a longer expression? I think because he's trying to get us to the point of like, new creation starts now. And I think if we lived like that as Christians, our week would be so much more oriented to the importance of like installing heaven where we're at, right? Because then every Sunday is not just, the day that I get over last night's hangover before I have to work tomorrow, you know, but instead it becomes like...
Do you need to tell us something, Jamie?
I don't. I'm just speculating from other conversations. But instead it becomes Sunday, first day of the week. I'm going to go gather with my church friends and church family, and we're going to celebrate the new creation that is coming already. We're going to celebrate Easter, everything that means every single week. Sure, we have an Easter set apart too, but like every week is Easter. Every day is Christmas, you know, like Olivia's dream and Timmy Turner's. It doesn't work out for Timmy Turner, just so you know.
They run out of money eventually.
No. You gotta watch the episode to understand.
Oh, okay.
Here, I'm gonna read from N.T. Wright because I think he says this really well. John 20 stresses twice in verses 1 and 19 that Easter is the first day of the new week. John has so ordered his gospel that the sequence of 7 signs climaxing in the cross of Jesus on the 6th day of the week and his resting in the tomb on the 7th functions as the week of the old creation. And now Easter functions as the beginning of the new creation. The Word through whom all things were made is now the Word through whom all things are remade. So far from being an odd or isolated supernatural event, breaking in as a sign of what God could do if he chose, but normally doesn't, Jesus' resurrection is to be seen as the beginning of the new world, the first day of the new week, the unveiling of the prototype of what God is now going to accomplish in the rest of the world. Mary supposes Jesus is the gardener. That's right to make. That's the right mistake to make because, like Adam, he is charged with bringing God's new world to order. Let me pause right there. Do you remember that part of the story?
Yeah.
Like Mary, is crying, and when someone comes up to her, he's like, "Why are you crying, Mary?" And she's like, "Jesus is dead," and it's Jesus, and she thinks he's the gardener. Like that's an intentional word choice on John's behalf, right? Why a gardener? Eden, the new creation, the new Adam, right? Everything is the new creation getting ready. Eden is getting ready to take over the whole world, things like that. So he goes on a little bit, but now I'm going to fast forward to one more quote from N.T. Wright. A little longer, stay awake, Casey. Here you go. In particular, the Gospels, especially John, and the early practice of the church, as in Paul, reflect the very early understanding of the church that the first day of the week, the day of Easter, has become a sign within the present world and its temporal sequence that the life of the age to come has already broken in. Sunday, kept as a commemoration of Easter ever since that event itself, is not simply a legacy of Victorian values, but a perpetual sign, joyfully renewed week by week, that all time belongs to God and stands under the renewing lordship of Jesus Christ. Of course, worship should be 7 whole days, not 1 in 7. Many Christians will find, for all kinds of reasons, that Sunday is a difficult day to attend a long church service. But we should remind ourselves that the earliest Christians lived in a world where Sunday was the first day of the working week. This is different from us, as Casey already said. We usually think of Monday. For them, Sunday was the first day of the working week, much like our Monday. And that they valued its symbolism so highly that they were prepared to get up extra early, both to celebrate Easter once again and to anticipate the final 8th day of creation, the start of the new week, the day when God will renew all things. So, John works a lot with time throughout Revelation. We've already seen that, right? God was, is to come. That's a time statement. Jesus is the Alpha and Omega. That's a time statement. But here we also see, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. Again, that's a time statement. He's talking about sacred space. He's talking about how every week, the first day of the week comes around, and we remember that new creation not only is coming, but is already broken through and is already here, because this is the day that Jesus died and has sanctified this day into something beyond the meaning that it once had. So, thoughts? Does it make you want to treat Sunday differently in your mind? No.
I feel like I would need to be reminded of this every Sunday.
I feel like
Shaman can make that happen.
You know, when I read this, and this was N.T. Wright's his book, pretty famously well known, Surprised by Hope. But that particular statement right there, I remember when I first read it, I was like, I need to bring this up on Easter. And now I feel more like I need to remember to bring this up every week. Sunday is not just,
Because it's like having that idea of a mini Easter every week is different than we have Easter once a year, the idea of it being a legit continued celebration of going back from when the resurrection happened, that Christians have been doing it every week ever since then, is an interesting idea.
Yeah. Well, think of all the books that we've written for churches about vision and mission, right? You gotta have the perfect vision statement, the perfect mission statement, and it's gotta be phrased succinctly, and there are entire books about crafting this perfectly. There's workshops, all this. The one that we have at 1208 right now is just simple with, in Jackson as it is in heaven. And I think for me, that comes back to this original vision, this original thinking of why do we go to church on Sundays? Well, that's the resurrection. That's the new creation. We are coming together to not only worship God, but remind ourselves we live in new creation now and it's breaking through. What is this vision statement of in Jackson as it is in heaven? It's this idea that heaven's already here, breaking through. We just need to keep bringing it. And so I think it gives us space to keep bringing that in as well. Let heaven come and soak in all of our work. And if we all gathered every Sunday and remembered that, then church wouldn't just be a Sunday gathering. It would be another week starting again. Are we ready to get out there and do this? It would be even more so if you did wake up like they did and I gotta go to work in a few hours. Yeah, as you start your work week again, let's talk about bringing heaven to Jerusalem, to Antioch, to Corinth, to all these places, right? So, yeah, final thoughts? Okay, well, the Lord's Day actually ends up, for me, being a lot more of a important statement than I think I would have originally assumed, just based on the way that it was used. But what do you think, Olivia? I mean, what do you think? Olivia?
Let us know on the Discord.
There you go.
and see if you can be the first one to comment on this video. Did you beat me? Did you not? Are you the next one who's won? We'll see.
Let's hear your thoughts. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll catch up with you next time when we talk about the trumpets.
Like the trumpet sound.
I hope you really like that song because there's no way she's not going to sing it 1,000,000 times before that episode's over. We'll see you then.
Lift your voice.
Next episode.